Okay, it's day is 123, and this is part three. And throughout this series, now 500 days in about, I've really tried to pick out great reporting that really has gone to, even if it's derivative reporting, if it brings more facts to the light of the American people, I try to push that out and try to support. Ava Bartlett comes to mind, Jessica Biel comes to mind, some of the reporting of the women that were killed, Serena Shim comes to mind. The gal who was murdered in Turkey, and I just can't remember her name right now. It should be on the tip of my tongue, and so forth. And I've really tried to do that in my reporting, and I've tried not to. I think the first 160 days now I've looked at it really stayed behind the camera. And I've noticed one other thing in terms of correlation. By the way, Adrian Chen's article was mainly derivative of a woman reporter who had just sat outside this little agency in Russia and watched people coming and going and doing kind of a quantitative network analysis right there. And it turns out to be still better than the FBI's total work product and DOJ work product now 2.5 years later. That all of our MSM is talking about a very small segment of one article that was written over 3 years ago now, or almost 3 years ago. So I've always tried to do that, and I've done some correlation analysis as well. It's when I use my picture, when I turn the camera around on me, all of this disruption, this incredible jealousy. My brother is just the start of it, the 1%, but these other YouTube folks have just. I don't know whether it's the one banana and a pack of monkeys that we feel like we have to attack each other. My whole focus has always been on the fake doctors and the ones that enable them, and also putting spies into different parts of the government. But the fake doctor thing, I mean, you could have a lifetime, thousands of patients that are killed or maimed or what have you with one fake doctor. So that's why I've kind of focused on the fake doctor thing. So anyway, what I'm going to try to do is, in the early days, I stayed behind the camera, and then it was really only out of people requesting, even into April 4th here last year in Canada, when I was doing the pain clinics in Canada, I was still behind the camera. I'm going to go back to that, and I'm putting on the real dates here rather than just the day of the series, and I'm going to try to see if there's a way of editing it while keeping the original publishing dates. Kind of edit my face out of this, because really this chatter or this kind of monkey attacking monkey kind of thing has gotten out of hand, even from some of the people I thought were my closest friends. So I'm going to try to move myself out of that. So I hope when you see that, you don't think it's something untoward. It's just to try to make it more about the content and less about the presentation, or more light and way less heat. And it's just gotten to the ridiculous so far with the other YouTube publishers right now. So anyway, having said that, I'm very proud of even the stuff I did a year ago, and all these montages and so forth and storyboards really are still good to go back to. If you want to remember, MedStar and Javid still hasn't come forward as a story. Starco was the company he used to bring in all the original, to take over the original convenience stores. That story got buried. That was another great piece of reporting. Here's kind of like they got the hockey stick started. The opioid death got started with Javid in Canada. The hockey stick is Canadian. I look back on the Judge Contreras FISA court over a year ago, right? This is Montreal, I believe, and it being overturned, and that being every bit as relevant today. We still don't know the answer to that, but I believe Judge Contreras rejected it, and it was overturned sometime in mid-June. So we'll see if I was right about that. So just going back, the two Javid brothers that come to Canada and where all the opioid deaths start, people still don't realize the connection there. Still a buried story. Still the story here with Norton, the Norton Manor, and the tens of millions of dollars that got laundered through for these mansions on the Potomac. I realize that's the Taj Mahal there. Well, no, it isn't. I guess it's the Norton Manor made to look like the Taj Mahal. And this James Gibson and all these people that were murdered still hasn't come forward. So I'm still very proud of a lot of the work that was done. And a lot of times I just go to the spot to just give people a sense of what's around it. For instance, here's where the Central Texas College is. It's right next to, in the Bethesda Naval Hospital, which is, down the street from NIH and down the street from Johns Hopkins. That's all I'm trying to do when I'm pointing the camera at myself. And as I said, where I can, I'm going to try to start editing those out. Here's an interesting one with Javid talking about, well, here's Dr. Fatah, who had killed hundreds of people, actually deliberately injecting them with carcinogens. Again, another buried story, the largest Medicaid fraud ever in the history of the United States. Still a great story, still nobody covering it. This one, Mohammed Shah with the Blue Sky Iridium phones, where have we heard that before? With Nellie Orr. All of these are still gems as far as the great amount of research that was put into them, and many of them still haven't come to light. We're still trying to get a part. We're still trying to get a part of this story that was done in 2015 out. The most important parts. We've only gotten the trivial parts, which were $3 ads. Half of the ads in this report were under $3, okay, in order to get below the anti-fraud measures that Facebook has, and half of the ads were taken after the election. So did Rosenstein mention that? He mentioned that there was 2 demonstrations, but did he mention the 3 different terrorist events that were associated with this? That's mentioned in this article in 2015. So those are the things I want to bring out. I want to bring out more light, less heat, more solid reporting, more cross-referencing, more open source journalism, less monkey hit monkey to get banana. So, and as you know, if you want to see the ugly mug out there, you can go ahead and put it out there on your site. Just don't monetize, and we'll all go forward together.